Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And I'm back with part 2 of What If Naruto Never Stop Leveling Up and Evolving, guys. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, if you haven't seen it yet, brand new episode over on Anime Symbol of What If Naruto Was an Omega level mutant. Link will be down in the description, so go ahead and check it out on Anime Symbol. And if you're new, yes, I indeed have 3 more channels that I post What If on: Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Symbol, guys. All of the links will be down there, so go ahead and check them out and become a part of the Anime King family. So without further ado or wasting more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin the intro. So, to do a bit of a recap, a young boy was being chased by a giant bear. However, he managed to escape. Despite the deadly situation, given his young age, one might think that he was terrified, but after escaping, he was laughing. That was until he was cornered. He was able to escape, but she was faster than him as she countered him. Her name was Uncle Midarashi, and his name was Naruto Uzumaki. They've been friends for some time now, ever since his conquest to start, manipulating the jungle at night by taking very life-threatening chances on his own life. However, he found them fun. Uncle knew that Naruto was a container of the Nine Tails, but so much more than that as well. She knew that Naruto was special, but she promised him that she would keep it a secret. Given how deep their friendship has become, she kept that promise to herself, not even telling the Hokage. However, truths are going to be revealed very soon. On the first day that Naruto fought Sasuke Uchiha, he was humiliated. Sasuke took him down in around 5 seconds. Naruto has been planning his revenge for some time now, wanting to know that he was stronger than Sasuke when the next time came around. And given that he would be graduating soon, Naruto revealed it all. He dominated Sasuke in a matter of seconds, overpowering him, speed and strength in every single way. However, this drew a lot of attention, as Hiruzen wanted to know. Naruto ended up telling him about Anko after a few minutes of back in front of him, promising not to do anything to her because she helped him. However, Anko only taught Naruto the basics in fighting style, refusing to teach him anything too dangerous, and yet he was able to manipulate his body in a way that should be impossible. Hiruzen decided to run some tests, and it turns out that Naruto's body was actively evolving. The doctors could not make an understanding guess of how this was happening, but his body was being stimulated when being put under stress or pressure of learning something. As Naruto did not even have the Shadow Clone Jutsu, the simple clone jutsu that he possessed. However, he was able to manipulate his chakra in a way that they came and they fought as real clones, which actually made no sense at all. Not to mention the transformation jutsu. When he did transform, it wasn't a jutsu transformation, it was a physical one, as he actually turned into what he transformed into. And the more he tried, the more his body was evolving and constantly leveling up to reach a perfect state. There is no telling how far this evolution would go, or if there was any limit to it. After graduating, Naruto ended up in a rather bad situation, with Mizuki trying to end his life after telling Naruto about the Ninetales. So stunned he wasn't able to defend himself. However, Aruka took in the shuriken in his back to protect Naruto as Naruto ran behind a tree. Aruka told Mizuki that Naruto might be hyperactive. He might be annoying at times, but what he was not, he wasn't a monster. Naruto showed himself as he created 100 clones and had them transform. He himself transformed into a massive python. Mizuki was ripped apart and beaten bloody by them. After being taken to the office, Naruto was spoken to by Hiruzen. When he woke up the next morning, Anko had made breakfast for him, as she knew that he now knew. However, Naruto understood why she couldn't say anything to him. He understood the Hokage putting a law on it. And besides, out of everyone else, she was his one true genuine friend. So Naruto was happy that she was still here. But he made a comment about her not being able to cook, which led them into a mental warfare in the morning. Upon graduating, Naruto was placed on Team 7 with Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. He was once in love with Sakura, but after speaking to Anko, who taught him a lot about the female and how they act and how they treat people, that they had no feelings for, Naruto realized that she did not feel the same way. As for Sasuke, he wanted to defeat Naruto by any means necessary, as he felt humiliated by his loss, and he wanted to one-up Naruto, so it was a constant rival between the two. Sakura did not have a problem against Naruto, seeing that he stopped annoying her a long time ago. When they went to meet their sensei, they did the bell test. Kakashi was rather surprised at Naruto actually transforming into an animal, as he went to speak to the Hokage afterwards. Looking rather bruised and scraped up, Hiruzen had a jovial look on his face. Kakashi wanted to know just what exactly was up with that boy, as Hiruzen informed him about the special ability that Naruto seemed to possess, which was unique amongst any other person on this planet. After a couple of months of doing nothing but D rank, they finally did a C rank, where they faced the Demon Brothers, continue on with the mission despite it being a lie, as they came across Zabuza Mamakai. The fight led Kakashi being captured. However, Naruto and the team worked together, as something erupted from the water that shocked everyone there, even the mass hunter Nin, that was Zabuza's partner that was hiding, decided to reveal himself, knowing that the situation was more deadly than they thought. So yeah guys, basically as left off, you guys can switch across the play, check over yourself, so see begin this new episode. Everyone was shocked, even Sakura and Sasuke, because they could see it as well. Immediately, Haku leapt from his hiding spot and landed within the clearing, as Zabuza was in mid-air. As the water erupted, emerging from the surface was a beast that they've never seen before. Kakashi, who flipped away and tried to steady himself on the rippling force, was beyond shock, as he knew that this was Naruto, but to transform into something like this, he'd seen this beast before, but not in reality, in a book. And he was correct. It was a serpent, a sea serpent, as Naruto had read it in a book, taking the form of animals. He did not just transform to manipulate, but to actually become the beast itself, giving him the same advancements that those beasts possess. Their abilities that were special above humankind, like a wolf nose, an eagle eyes. But right now, Naruto was transformed into a colossal beast that took up a large section of the river that they were currently fighting on top of. It was a cross between a snake and a crocodile, having that rough exterior to protect it on the outside, while the remaining body was smooth and long like a snake. However, it had rows of sharp teeth that were actually dripping with poison, ready to chomp down. Blue eyes focused on Zabuza, its mouth open wide to devour him. Before he could though, Senbons, hit him in his right eye, causing him to howl out in rage. Zabuza, seeing the opportunity that he needed, flooded through hand sign as he released his blade. The water down below shot upwards. He used it as a stepping point. The beast roared and attacked him. He used the water as a stepping point to jump away while kicking his blade extremely hard, given the form that Naruto chose to take, and this being an actual transformation because of his constant evolution. When the blade slammed into him, the beast stopped. Haku did not let up, aiming for the other eye as well. A violent roar was released, shaking the entire place. Zabuza flipped and landed on the water, barely holding on. He dashed forward. Kakashi was going to intercept him though, but Haku came in and blocked the man. Zabuza rushed in under the guise of the pain that Naruto was going through. He grabbed the blade and yanked it before pulling down. He then jumped and delivered a brutal slash before he slammed the blade down hard once again and came down with a force, tearing its off underbelly open with a violent force. So much so that his blade even chipped. Piece of his blade chipped off. However, the blood was more than enough to fix his blade, because his blade was special. Whenever it consumed the blood of its victims, it regrew if there was any crack or breaks on it. Sakura's eyes widened, having known that Naruto could transform like that, and also feel the pain when he did. During their many sessions, she was worried. He was her teammate. He was also a friend as well. Sasuke wanted to do something, but in the situation that he was currently in, it didn't seem like there was anything that he could do. The body started to shrink in on itself until Naruto was standing there. Both of his eyes were leaking blood. His stomach area was a mess. So was his chest area as well. A violent surge was felt. Haku was sent sailing as Kakashi was pissed off, knocking Haku away like a child, aiming to stop Naruto from falling into the water. However, Zabuza had another plan in mind. He stopped the copy ninjas. Their blades clashed against each other, Haku recovering and attacking him, but Kakashi was not about to allow them to make him watch Naruto die in front of his eyes. Hold on, he said in his mind, as he tried to get past the two as they flanked him. However, Naruto already fell into the water as he was sinking down to the bottom. Note to self, next time, don't transform into something that big that can be hit from almost any areas, Naruto said, his eyes still closed. Wait a minute. Am I dying? He thought to himself. Of course not. I can't die here. Uncle would kill me, he said, laughing at his rather ironic joke in his mind. Besides, I just started. How could I just die right here and now on my first mission? That would be rather pathetic, wouldn't you think? He said to himself as he was sinking lower and lower. The wound on his chest and stomach started to heal at a rapid rate. Having never been put in a situation like this before, being so close to death, while the blade did not puncture his heart, it did came close, and he's lost so much blood. As Naruto sunk to the bottom, his chest and stomach wound was already healed, his eyes fully recovered. The near-death experience evolved his body and leveled him up, increasing his strength and durability for the next fight to be had. But not just that. Zabuza's broken blade, the piece of it, had been stuck inside of his form. Upon regeneration, his body being introduced to a new substance, it took a careful examination of it. The blade quality, allowing it to consume the blood of his victims and recover. It merged with Naruto. The new substance pushed Naruto evolution once again. This time, it evolved the blood coursing through his veins. And the fact that his oxygen was running out as well, it evolved Naruto lungs, allowing his body to extract oxygen from the water like a fish. When Naruto's eyes opened up, a grin spread on his face. I knew I wasn't dying. In fact, I felt more amazing than I ever had in my entire life, said Naruto. He could feel his blood coursing through his veins. So he did the next best thing. He pushed his body into overdrive by allowing the blood to circulate through his body, allowing it to move towards the very edge, stimulating every part of his insides, as his blood was constantly pumping and running, and it was only getting faster and faster and stronger. The veins in Naruto's head started to bulge. His skin started to turn a light red shade. His eyes became crimson. His smile spread even more. Kakashi, who was fighting the other two ruthlessly, to the point that Zabuza and Haku had to work together, otherwise they would be cut down. But even with their combined strength, the rage that the man was currently inhabiting was pushing them to the point of no return. They could not take a breather. He was like a different being entirely. That was until all of them stopped when they felt the enormous force of energy exploding out of the water. Sasuke had came to a stop, having told Sakura to stay with the client, as he had saw Naruto falling down. His intention was to save Naruto's life. It wasn't something that he even thought about. However, before he could dive in the water, a violent rippling wave blew him back. It blew almost everyone back as Naruto exploded out of the water. His bulging veins in his arms and leg, and one right on his forehead, his bleeding crimson eyes, as Naruto was increasing his physical ability by speeding up the transport of nutrients and oxygen via blood to all part of his body, therefore increasing his physical output by a lot. He saw the one that hit him within the eyes, as Naruto vanished from mid-air and appeared in front of Haku. Haku leaned back just in time, showing his impressive control over his speed and reflex, as Naruto's fist whipped past his face. Even so, Haku felt the pressure behind the punch, knowing if that hit him it would be trouble. He jumped, dodging Naruto's spinning kick. Naruto kicked off the water with so much force that it caused another shockwave to spiral into the sky. His fists were moving at least 5 times they normally did. Haku was insanely fast to block the first few, dodging mostly, but when the 5th fist slammed into his stomach, it was all over, it seems. Given the state that Naruto was in, hand-to-hand combat was a really idiotic idea. Despite his speed, Naruto's hits were so fast that they hit without a sound for a few seconds. Just a few nano fraction of a seconds. But that was a real growth in progress to show just how much faster and stronger his body was currently moving at. 15 punches were released, and out of the 15, 7 made contact. Haku was sent across the goddamn river, blasting through a tree when the last punch slammed into his chest, as Haku bounced across the water like a stone, just to show the speed that he was moving at, which was ridiculous. Zabuza immediately flocked to his side as he rushed into the forest area, knowing that Kakashi was already problematic enough. How the hell was the kid alive? And how had he powered up so much? It made absolutely no sense. He rushed to Haku's side, telling him to rise to get to his feet. Upon closer inspection though, Haku was out like a light, looking at himself that had several slashes. From Kakashi, Zabuza thought it best for them to leave. A tactical retreat. It was the best thing to do at the moment. He grabbed Haku and took off. Kakashi surpassed Naruto with his speed and stopped him before he could reach any further. Naruto looked at him. "Come on, we can still go after them." "No, they're gone," said Kakashi. As he looked at the young boy, "What happened to you?" he said. Given the state that Naruto was in. "Oh, this? Don't worry," said Naruto. "This is my doing." He calmed himself as his body started to return back to normal, showing his normal color until he fell. Kakashi moved in and caught him as Naruto was out like a light. The problem with stimulating his body like that was that he pushed himself over the edge. 30 seconds ago, if he was any normal person, he would have probably been dead by now. Luckily though, his healing ability was constantly evolving though. Having recognized this weakness, it evolved to be stronger. Having recognized how easy it took for his body to give out, his body leveled up to be even more stronger than that. Having realized that this even knocked him unconscious, his mind, his soul, his spirit, his physical form got stronger as evolution was taking place on a subatomic level that no one could see. For the moment though, Naruto was out like a light. Luckily though, he had people to watch his back because if he was the only one here, he would have been dead by now. The enemy would have slaughtered him. Those punches that he gave Haku were not normal punches. Each one of them sped his body over to the limit. Luckily he had friends. Running over to the scene, Sakura asked if he was alright. Checking up on the young boy even though he was burning up, Kakashi felt his body slowly cooling down. He believed that Naruto was going to be just fine, but just in case they had to take him to the house immediately. The group nodded as they made their way off, heading towards Tazuna's home. Time skip. Tsunami, daughter of Tazuna, entered the room that Naruto was currently residing in. As she saw him soundly asleep, the place was rather cold, so she brought him an extra blanket, knowing how much these children and their sensei was doing for her father. She wanted to help as best as she could. She heard something though as she turned her gaze. The sky was getting rather dark, it seems, like they were in for some rain. As she stepped forward, but one of the blankets slipped from her grasp as it was about to fall on Naruto's face. The moment it came in close, his eyes snapped open as he grabbed it. He didn't just grab it though, he leapt to the ceiling and he stuck to it. Tsunami was rather shocked as Naruto blinking realized what was going on. Releasing his legs from the ceiling and only leaving one hand, he hopped back down, placing a hand behind his head as he rubbed. "Sorry about that. I didn't mean to scare you," said Naruto. "No," she said, "I'm quite fine. But how did you..." As she looked up to the ceiling, was that a ninja trick, she asked him. "Well, not exactly," Naruto said. As the both of them came downstairs, Tsunami was hearing a lot about Naruto's special body, which apparently allowed him to stick to walls, which was rather strange, if she might say so herself. Kakashi was glad to see Naruto on his feet, immediately asking him how he felt. Well, Naruto felt downright amazing. Naruto had saw Sasuke the moment he burst from the water, trying to rescue him as he was about to dive into the water. He thanked the Uchiha for his offered help, Sasuke playing it off like it was nothing. Sakura was just glad that they all made it out of it alive. However, Zabuza will be back, and they had no idea when, therefore they had to be prepared for when the threat arises once again. Time skip. Zabuza bandaged his arms and his torso as well. Haku had yet to wake up, but he doubted it would be for much longer. However, as he looked over towards his blade, The only thing that was on his mind was revenge. It didn't take too long after for Gato to pay him a little visit on why the mission was not done yet. By then Haku was back on his feet. Attacking the team had to be carefully planned, as it turns out that little brat was more stronger than any of them thought, not to mention fast as well. The only reason why they got the one up on them was because they underestimated them. Haku had no idea that whatever he did and the state that he took on would increase his physical strength and speed to that degree. He had absolutely no idea. However, Zabuza's wounds affected him more than he thought, him not being someone to like show weaknesses. He tried to play it off, but Haku could see it. He decided to get some herbs for him to speed up the healing process, so that they could be ready when the time does present itself. Time skip. Naruto was sleeping in a field after getting a bit upset with a young boy known as Inari. He didn't mean to get that upset. Hahowever, the child angered him with his words. Something that shouldn't bother him that much, however. It made him think a bit about the past, before he met Uncle, when he was all alone. But then again, he was just a young boy. He doesn't understand anything that much. Naruto's eyes were closed, but he was not sleeping, having woken up some time ago. He came out here to practice. His strength was constantly increasing, his speed as well. He was getting faster and stronger. And that wasn't the only thing. He could feel the blood circulating through him. Kakashi believed that it might be difficult on his form, but the more time passed, the more his body was adjusting. That wasn't the only thing. Something rather surprising happened last night. Well, he was the one to try it, but it did surprise him. Naruto smelled him the moment he entered the field. His nose had gotten so much better after transforming into a wolf. Even in his normal form, Naruto could smell him. It was the same cold smell. How in the world could he smell that? Sensation was beyond him, but everything was increasing and constantly getting stronger. The moment the hunter nin reached down, as Naruto felt like he was about to attack, Naruto lashed out and grabbed the wrists. Haku was going to wake him up. His first instinct was to kill, but his mind was never fixated on that. Immediately realizing the threat, Haku slammed his hand in Naruto's stomach to disarm him, paralyze him. However, Naruto pulled his arm back, swinging him right into the tree. As Naruto stepped back, feeling his body seize up, as Haku hit two of his points, but Haku back slammed into the tree hard. The both of them having space between them. "I know it's you," said Naruto. "You were the one that hit me in the eyes." Seeing the look on his face, realizing Haku knew there was no hiding it. "How do you know?" he asked. "I can smell you," said Naruto. Haku gave him a confused look. He wouldn't have been able to track his smell after these few days. But he did not question that. He knew. Senbons dropped from his wrist and right into his hand. The blood inside of Naruto's body started to go on overdrive. It started to push him and free up the points that Haku were able to knock. Haku was surprised as Naruto stepped forward casually. "How is that possible? You're not supposed to move that easily." He knew the human body quite well. Granted, his hits did not land perfectly as he wanted, but it should at least buy him at least 30 seconds. But no, it was just 10 seconds and yet he was already moving so casually. Naruto then paused as he looked at Haku confused, but Haku was already in his stance. "You don't want to fight me," said Naruto. Haku remained quiet. "I've stood up against Zabuza, and what I felt from him, that killer instinct, it was so potent and deadly, but you on the other hand, you don't want to do this. Not to mention," Naruto focused closely, "I can hear your heart beat. It's going fast, not because you're afraid to fight, but because you're afraid to do what you don't want to do." "How would you possibly know that?" Haku said. I have the instincts of an animal, said Naruto. I can smell your fear. I can smell trepidation and cautiousness. My body is quite remarkable, said Naruto. And all of that is wreaking on you at the moment. I don't even sense the instinct to kill me. Even earlier, you weren't about to kill me. You wanted to do something else. Haku disarmed himself slightly. I wanted to wake you up. You're right. I do not want to kill you, he said. You, on the other hand, had no problem with that. You hit me in the eyes, and you were going to attack my friends. I was only defending them, said Naruto. And besides, if we could solve this without bloodshed, that would be great. What I can't understand is, why would someone like you work for that monster? Zabuza is a vicious, heartless person that is only focused on killing. You must have felt his killer intent. How can you justify your actions by working for someone like that? What's your name? Why, said Naruto. Because I believe, for someone truly to know each other, they must start with something personal, as their name, a part of their identity. Fine, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I am Haku. Now tell me, is there anyone that you find precious in your life? Naruto narrowed his gaze. Yes, why? Well, Zabuza is my precious person. He's the person that I'm willing to give everything for. He's a person that I'll do everything, even die for. Why? Said Naruto. Because he saved me when I thought there was no reason to live. And now, I owe him everything, including my life. The person that I see as my precious person told me that there are some people in this world that is so stuck in their ideal no matter what you say or do, they can't change it. And as I look at you, I can tell that you're one of those people. That means, yes, Haku said, we will fight. And one of us will die. Because I won't allow you to kill Zabuza-sama. And I won't allow you to stop him in his mission either. You're right, said Naruto. One of us will die. I've killed before, and I did so to protect someone. Someone I cared about. Someone that saw me as something else other than a monster. And these people, they become my friends. We're a part of a little family, Team 7. As much as we bicker, they're my comrades and I won't allow you to hurt any of them. I understand. I would do the same, Haku said. The both of them stepped forward. There was nothing but respect between the two despite knowing that they would have to claim each other's life. It was the first time that Naruto was truly understanding what it meant to be an actual ninja and to have comrades and to fight alongside them. The both of them stepped past each other, neither of them looking back. As Haku spoke, maybe in another life we would have been friends. I would have liked that. Me too, said Naruto. They separated, not looking back as they walk. The both of them understanding what must be done to protect the people that were close to them. Naruto did not say anything about his encounter, because for the first time since actually becoming a ninja, he understood a part of the struggle of what being a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf meant. Constantly Naruto prepared himself, ready for what is to come, until the day that he was left behind, in order to watch over the family while the other two went. Having trained a lot the night before, Naruto was exhausted, extremely so he slept in, more than he normally should. The noise outside awoke him though. Naruto looked through the window as he saw Tsunami was chopped in the back of the neck as she was knocked out. Iniri was running like a madman towards the two swordsmen that were currently holding on to his mother. The one that was free unleashed his blade. Something flashed past him though, as Naruto wrapped around him as he transformed into a snake and bit into his throat, pumping toxin venom inside of him. The man's eyes widened as his body seized up. Naruto lashed out to the other one, wrapping around his arms and legs, binding him as he bit into his throat as well, pumping toxin in him. Tsunami falling to the ground as Inier rushed to his mother. His mind wasn't even focused on the snake, as Naruto transformed back to his normal self, wiping his mouth away, looking at the two unconscious foe. A snake had bit him. Well, multiple snakes had bit him, Uncle being the one behind that. The poison that they carry wasn't exactly deadly. His body had evolved to gather such poison as well for his transformations. Naruto held his hand out as he brought it up towards his fang that was still there. He poked it. As he looked at his finger, a smile came on his face. It seems he was evolving even more. "Hey kid," said Naruto. Inieri looked up towards him. "You said there is nothing as hero anymore, but you ran headfirst to save your mother despite knowing that you were outgunned and overpowered. If that's not a hero," Naruto said with a big smile, "then I don't know what is." Inieri was in tears hearing that, as it reminded him of something Kaiser said to him. "Now it's my turn to protect your land, your people, and your grandfather," said Naruto. "Keep your mom safe. I'll be back soon." With that, Naruto took off, heading as fast as he could towards the bridge, as he transformed into a wolf and dashed through the foliage at immaculate speed. He kept on shape-shifting as he transformed into a snake and Slither. He transformed into a bird and took to the skies. As he looked down when he saw the bridge, Naruto transformed back into himself as he dived from the heavens coming down. Before he could reach though, he transformed into a spider and shot webs towards one of the support beams as he swung down. He landed in his normal form when he did. Sakura seemed so grateful to see that Naruto was here. She looked towards where Sasuke was. Naruto saw the massive construct. He wasted no time as he entered. "Hey Sasuke, you alright?" Sasuke's face immediately dropped. "You idiot! Why did you come in here? You had a better chance attacking from the outside. You have no idea how hard it is to get out." "Huh, I guess my body just reacts seeing you in danger. Can't allow my rival to die after all." Sasuke released a heavy sigh. "Wait, your eyes," said Naruto. Sasuke had a smirk on his face. "Yeah, look at them good, because this is what I'll use to defeat you." Naruto smirked. "Let's get out of this first," he said as he got to his feet, helping Sasuke up. "So you're here," Haku said. "I told you what was going to happen." "And this is the day," said Naruto. "Yes, it is," Haku said. "Wait, why are you talking like you know this person?" Sasuke asked. "Long story," said Naruto. They were assaulted by needles. Haku did not let up once. However, Naruto's physical abilities was proven to be a problem as he was evading too much, twisting and bending his body in all sorts of ways. He even transformed into a giant turtle, using his shell to block the needles. "How is that possible?" Haku said, trying to understand how was he using the abilities of his transformations. It made no sense. The moment he got hit, despite the shell or not, it was supposed to go up in smoke. Just what the hell is going on? Haku just couldn't understand. As Naruto was constantly evading, Haku decided to end this. He appeared in every mirror at once. "Damn it, this is bad," Naruto said. "How are you doing?" "I can go all day," Sasuke said. "Just worry about yourself." Despite him looking extremely exhausted, needles were launched at a much faster rate. Naruto cursed as Haku saw him as a threat. All the distraction was, yes, a distraction. The real Haku burst from the mirror and descended upon Naruto. These needles in his hands were much longer and much more powerful. However, Sasuke threw himself in the way, seeing that Naruto was blocking from the front. Naruto heard the sound behind him, Haku rushing back to the mirror. Sasuke collapsed down as Naruto caught him. "You idiot! Why the hell would you do that?" "I would have been fine," said Naruto. "But not you with the condition that you're in." Sasuke coughed. I don't know. I saw that you were in danger and my body just moved on its own," Sasuke said, as he was terribly weak to even talk. He wanted to say more, but his body started to slowly shut down. "No, stay with me. I'll get you out of here. I'll get you some help." Naruto could hear his heartbeat. The problem was Sasuke's heartbeat slowed down so much. There was a space between beats. And that space triggered Naruto believing that he was gone. "Is this the first time you watch a comrade die?" Haku said as Naruto lost his shit. Immediately, powerful red eyes opened up within Naruto's subconscious. Finally, a voice spoke. Immediately, red chakra started to ooze from Naruto. His canine extended. His hair started to extend and become wild, animalistic. The problem was, the power of the fox was coursing through his vein, and his body was trying its best to adapt, to evolve, to level up. But the power was a constant flow, therefore it was changing him drastically. Naruto's nails became long and sharp. His eyes became slanted and his pupils became slitted. His hair was wild and much more longer, flowing down his back like a wild mane, like a beast. His face structure changed and became tough, animalistic. The whiskers on his face became actual whiskers, furry. However, Naruto's body was all about evolving to the best that he could be. So having him go rampage and wild was not the best he could be, but having it all under control was. Naruto lost his mind for a second there, but his control came back immediately. During the process, he could not hear Sasuke's heartbeat because he was hearing his going into overdrive. Because his blood also started to stimulate each point of his body. With the fox chakra pumping through him, he became red, like blood itself. His eyes were just two white orbs. Having overstimulated himself to an extreme amount, Haku was frightened. What is this? Naruto looked up and looked on the direct one that Haku was in, not the fakes. The speed that he generated was something that Haku frankly couldn't understand. The next moment he was on the ground. Luckily, if he hadn't backtracked out of his own mirror, he would have been split into pieces. Naruto released a violent roar that had so much power behind it. It shattered all of the mirrors. They broke away like dust. Naruto was fully within his mind, but he was just so angry. "I'll kill you," he said. Haku formed ice senbons and launched them. However, Naruto kept on blinking in and out. It was like he was teleporting, but it was just him pushing off with every ounce of speed, looking like his body was becoming a mirage. Haku realized that the last time they fought hand to hand, it didn't end so well for him, and this time he was more stronger. However, his surprise, limit was broken as Naruto gripped his arm, having teleported behind him, because that is what it looked like, but it was just raw speed. Impossible. No one can be this fast, Haku thought. When Naruto's fist delivered upon his jaw, there was a cracking sound. His body threatened to go into the heavens, but Naruto was still holding him. Naruto yanked him back. Haku tried to raise his arm, but when their arms collided in a punch, Haku tried to defend himself. Despite the senbons that he held pointed out, they shattered upon impact, and the bones in his right arm also shattered as well. Naruto pulled him back and slammed his fist 3 times in his stomach. The generated force that came from Naruto's blow shock Haku's body like it was a piece of paper fluttering in the wind. The last punch Naruto released him as he bounced across the bridge. Blood poured down the side of the mask, as the bottom part was chipped badly from Naruto's uppercut. Haku was sure that he blacked out from the second punch, but the third one knocked him back into consciousness. As Naruto was jumping towards him, not like a human but like a ravaged animal. Upon reaching, Naruto raised his fists. Haku had no time to react, no time to prepare. It was over. However, there was no pain. The reason Naruto stopped was because, finally under control, he heard Sasuke's heartbeat, and that stopped him. It also reminded him of what he said about Haku earlier. He didn't like to kill people, Naruto thought. He remembered seeing the herbs in the basket. A medic. Naruto turned as he rushed towards Sasuke's side. He searched Uchiha as he saw the senbon in his neck. Naruto plucked it out, and Sasuke took a breath. He's alive. Naruto looked down towards Sasuke. His body started to regress back to normal, fully controlling his own actions. His hair returned back to its normal form, his nails, his fangs. Naruto stepped towards Haku that was on his knees, unmoving. As he looked up at Naruto, "Go ahead, finish it. I am nothing but a broken tool now. I have nothing left to live for. You said that you would die for Zabuza, that you would give everything for him. What makes you believe that? He doesn't care if you die," said Naruto. Haku smiled at Naruto. "I appreciate your thought for my well-being, but it is not required. I was forced to kill my own father when he tried to kill me after killing my mother. All of that was my fault. Because I was cursed with this bloodline, I thought at first. You could only imagine how much of an emotional wreck I was. I thought there was no purpose in going on. But Zabuza found me. He protected me until I was strong enough to protect myself. How could I be a good tool if I fail? There is no point, no reason to continue, so you might as well end my life right here and now. If you're with someone for that long, and you haven't formed an emotional attachment to them, if you don't care for their well-being, I assure you that Zabuza never really thought of you as anything but a hindrance. And I'm sure he did not. It doesn't matter how awful he seemed to be. I'm sure that he cared about you. Ending your life right now would be a waste because, despite what you needed to do, you did not kill Sasuke. You simply knocked him out. Yes, I did. A weakness that I've had, and have yet to eliminate, as Zabuza-sama says. But there is no... Haku silenced himself as he heard the lightning. It seems. My life will serve a purpose today after all, he said. I'm sorry for what I put you through today. He said, going through one-handed seal because his other arm was messed up. His body was barely functionable. A lot of his bones were shattered and broken, and he felt so weak. However, he pushed himself and opened one of his mirrors. "Wait," said Naruto as he reached, but it was gone. Naruto felt the tingling sensation as he saw it. Despite the mist, Naruto saw it where he was. Naruto bent himself into a running position as he pushed off with all of his might, blazing to reach before anything happened. Lightning blade! Kakashi came in to end Zabuza's life, but Haku arrived. Damn it, Kakashi cursed as he could not stop. However, Haku was pushed as he hit the railing. Kakashi's eyes went wide as his attack ripped into Naruto's shoulder. Kakashi couldn't believe it. "Naruto?" "Sorry, Sensei. It had to be done," Naruto said. Zabuza, on the other hand, now free, saw his opportunity to slice through them both. Naruto turned and raised his hand towards him. The electricity that Kakashi just hit Naruto with and still coursing through him, flooded through Naruto's body like a conduit. It poured out of his hands like a voltage viper. Zabuza screamed as he was violently hit. Even after Kakashi stopped his technique, Naruto kept on releasing the electrical force somehow. Zabuza dropped down to his knees, burnt, but alive. However, his condition, he couldn't fight anymore. As he looked over towards Haku, who wasn't in a better state either. The additional hit into the railing had messed him up badly. He was conscious, but he couldn't fight either. Naruto turned to face Kakashi. "What the hell were you thinking?" Kakashi yelled at him. "He don't deserve to die. I know they're our enemies, but he's innocent. He could have killed Sasuke a long time ago, but he chose not to. Even knowing that, it would stop his master from achieving his goal. He's an innocent person." Naruto said, "This world has just been so unfair to him, so he doesn't deserve to die. Besides, I'm fine," Naruto said, his wound closing almost immediately. Kakashi was stunned at the regeneration, how fast it was. You, on the other hand, Naruto grabbed Zabuza by the throat and looked him into the eyes. "I felt it a moment ago. What if it was him? Would you have cut through him as well? Your emotion said that you would. What kind of heartless, miserable bastard could you be? After everything he's given you, everything he's sacrificed." "Haku is a tool. You wouldn't understand." Naruto slammed his fist in Zabuza's face. "No, stop," Haku said, trying to stop Naruto, but he gripped Zabuza's throat. "Look at him. Even now, he can't move. He's in agony, and yet he still wants the best for you, and you stand there with that look on your face. Doesn't he mean anything to you?" said Naruto. "I have no idea what happened in your messed up life, that you can be with someone for so long, that you can find someone as a partner and help them, even raise them as your own. I thought you would have seen him as some sort of younger brother or even your own child, but you stand here saying that you don't care. What kind of person are you? Do you have no heart, even for your own? Answer me, you bastard!" Naruto roared in his face. However, Zabuza lowered his head. Kakashi, on the other hand, saw the water dropping from his face. The next time Zabuza looked up, there were tears in his eyes. "Your words cut deeper than any other blade, you brat," he said as he was crying, surprising Naruto. Haku looked surprised as well. Before Zabuza could say anything, well, what do we have here?" Gato said, arriving on the bridge. "Despite all of that big thought that you had, look at you, at the mercy of a child. Pathetic. It's a good thing I decided to come prepared." Behind him was a bunch load of thugs, all of them grinning and smiling. "You bastard, Gato, what are you doing here?" Zabuza said, as he forcefully got to his feet using his blade. "Isn't it obvious? I'm here to kill you all, revoking what I was going to pay you in the agreement. Because as I can see, your claim of being the better one here is rather pathetic." "So you're him," said Naruto. "You're Gato, the one that did all of this." "That's right, you brat. And if you don't want to die, I suggest you stand aside." Naruto looked down. "So this is what it means to be a ninja," Naruto said. This mission had changed him in so many ways. And now looking at the man that caused all of this, the man that strung up Kaiser, the man that took everything away from Iniri, the man that hurt the family, the man that hurt these people. During this time here, Naruto saw children with their clothing barely hanging on to them, begging, food, anything. Sakura even gave one of them some sweets. As a child was hungry when she thought that he was going for her bag, but he was just asking for food. It broke Naruta's heart. He knew that his life was not normal, but he was never subjugated to this treatment. And people like this, they had the power to do something about it. However, he was a ninja now, and he had the power to do something as well. He didn't like to kill people. He didn't like to claim others' life. However, it's a part of being a ninja and a part of growing up. There was no doubt about that, Naruto thought. He ran, heading straight towards Gato. Kakashi shouting at him to stop. The moment Gato realized the threat was coming, he shouted at his boys to go. Two of them flashed in front of him, but Naruto transformed into a snake and slipped between their legs. He then slipped between Gato's legs as well before he transformed back in himself and plunged his hand in the man's chest, having his nails elongate on command, piercing Gato's heart. Tears actually came to Naruto's eye, as he just killed his innocence. Protecting his teacher was one thing when he went overboard with Mizuki, but he wanted to kill Gato, something that he's never wanted to do. He needed to kill Gato. He wasn't angry or anything. He wasn't in rage of anything that Gato recently did. It was everything, and he needed to do something about it. Naruto watched as the life left his eyes, slipping away from him. Kakashi saw it as well. He saw the change that happened in Naruto. He evolved alright, but not physically. It was mentally. The problem was Naruto was surrounded by all of the thugs, who were pissed off that he killed their meal ticket. However, Iniri arrived with all of the villagers, with all created weapons, ready to fight for their home. They were distracted as Naruto jumped into the water. "We can take them," one of them said. That was until Naruto erupted out of the water, transformed in his massive serpent form, and released an ungodly roar. They ran with their tails between their legs, as fast as they could, throwing themselves off the bridge, trying to run to the opposite side in fear and fright. Naruto pulled himself back to land, dripping wet. As he arrived and stood there, looking out at them running away, Kakashi walked up beside him and stood there beside the young boy, just in silence, as the people up above exploded in cheers. The body of Gato lying dead on the bridge. Naruto's hand, his nails to be quite exact, having droplet of blood on it. Time skip. Naruto was shaking Haku's hand. Maybe that talk of friendship is not so far away from where we are right now. Naruto smiled. If we could overcome being enemies, I suppose we could overcome anything, Naruto said, with a happy smile on his face. "Come on, it's time to go," Zabuza said. "And brat, I won't forget what you did. I will have my rematch someday." "Huh, you can count on it, old man," said Naruto. "Huh? I'm not old," Zabuza said. "Well, to me you are," Naruto said, laughing, causing Haku to snicker slightly, causing Zabuza to send him a glare. He immediately went quiet. As the two of them headed off, Kakashi, watching as Naruto returned. With the problem settled, they no longer had to be enemies. It took them some time to recover, both of them, but they did it away from the village. But they promised, well, Haku did that, they would say goodbye. Kakashi was nearby just in case, despite them no longer being enemies. This was a ninja world, and you must always be prepared. However, Naruto trusted Haku, greatly so, as he did not even look back, expecting any surprise attack. As Naruto walked, throughout this time his body had evolved, but not just so, his mind as well. He now understood his ninja way. He now understood what he wanted in this life. His thoughts were interrupted by the copy ninja as the both of them headed back towards the home. Naruto never experienced cheer like this. Since he did what he did and the rumors spread, the people here has been overwhelmingly nice. Back in his home where he was seen as a pariah, it was different here. Sakura was glad for him. Sasuke was a bit jealous of all of the praise being sent Naruto's way when he put in his fight as well. However, when two girls started to whisper and say something about his good looks, he turned his head with a smirk on his face, causing Naruto to chuckle and Sakura to glare at them. However, Naruto threw his arm around the both of their shoulder, as Sasuke pushed him away though. But Sakura did not seem to mind. She was happy, loving how Team 7 was coming along. Upon saying their farewells, Iniero was in tears. Tsunami wanted to thank them all once again, as Tazuna was grateful for them helping him and changing everything. As Team 7 left, they left without knowing the name of the bridge. Iniero was the one that gave it to them. For the one that changed everything and brought back their hope, brought back their reason to go on. The Great Naruto Bridge, they decided to name it. As Team 7 headed off back to the village, Naruto paused as he turned around. Kakashi asked him what it was, but he said it was nothing. He just thought that he saw something. And he was right. Standing in the far distance was a person, his body cloaked in the darkness of the foliage. His gaze was focused directly on Naruto and no one else. A smile creeped up on his face. He seemed so happy. After all this time, he spoke in a very dark and decrepit voice. Evolution has finally taken place and made a stand. He spoke in a complicated way, as his gaze was still fixated towards Naruto. He looked down towards his hand. His hand was bandaged all over. However, his hand was unusual because there was an eye in the center. An eye that was bandaged all over. Not to mention his skin was pale, strangely pale than most others, as the eye under the bandage started to move and slowly open up, showing a dark red color before. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs over the other channel guys. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.